Today we're going to be talking about how to program a Ventra Pro controller to have the tunnel inlet or tunnel curtain operate off of static pressure using a static pressure sensor. First thing we need to do from the main screen is come to the location where our tunnel inlet is programmed into the control. That should be able to be found using the hotkeys or by searching through the System Setup Device menu. In this case, we've programmed our tunnel inlet to be on output channel 9, so pressing the hotkey here will take us to tunnel inlet group number 1. The factory setting will usually be to operate as temp natural only. We have a number of options here, one for the natural versus the tunnel, and one temperature versus static. Natural simply refers to any time that the tunnel curtain is operating outside of actual tunnel mode when we're using airspeed. Temperature refers to running off of the temperature sensors as opposed to the static pressure sensors. For our example, we're going to be using our tunnel inlet or tunnel curtain only in tunnel mode and only being used with the static pressure sensor. Press enter to be able to edit, and then using the plus or minus buttons we can scroll through and see the options, operating by temperature in natural mode and by temperature in tunnel mode, temp natural static tunnel, temp tunnel only, static natural only, static natural temp tunnel, static natural static tunnel, or static tunnel only. Once we have selected what we want, press enter again to lock it in, and then a new menu will be opened up below based on this pick of static tunnel only. This is telling us that the tunnel curtain will only open when the controller goes into tunnel mode, and once opened it will begin to operate based on the static pressure. Scrolling down through the menu, we'll see some of the other settings that will need to be verified. One is the full opening size of the curtain, in this case 36 inches, can be adjusted up or down. In our case, we'll keep it at 36 inches. Full open travel time. You'll time this out by manually using the toggle switch to open up the curtain, time how long it takes to get fully open, close the curtain, and time how long it takes to get fully closed. That time will usually be a little bit longer for the close than the open travel time. In our case, we've set it to 1 minute and 10 seconds for the open travel time, and 1 minute and 12 seconds for the closed travel time based on what we actually timed in the barn. Tunnel entry size and exit size has to do with when the control initially transfers from sidewall cooling or minimum ventilation cooling into tunnel mode, how far do you want to open the tunnel inlet before it actually begins operating off of static pressure. In this case, we'll open at 20 inches, and when we leave tunnel mode, since we're not using the tunnel curtain any longer, we'll set the exiting size to 0 inches. Resync is simply a function to allow the controller to get back in touch with where the curtain may actually be in the absence of a potentiometer. Once a day, based on a 24-hour time clock, you can tell the controller to fully close or fully open the curtain. The last setting after the resync is static pressure pause timer. This simply says how long after moving the curtain is it going to wait before taking a static pressure reading. This eliminates things from gusts or breezes causing the curtain to move up and down regularly. Somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds is usually a good number to start from. After that, we're back to the beginning of static tunnel only, so that completes all of the settings we need to do for the tunnel inlet group number 1 itself. The other setting that we would need to check on is what the set point is for where we're actually trying to achieve with our static pressure with our tunnel. That's found under the control settings hotkey. Starting from temperature control, we can move to the right until we find static pressure. You'll see that there's both natural and, if you arrow down, tunnel. The tunnel setting is what we're going to be concerned with for controlling our tunnel curtain based off of static pressure. Currently, we have a set point of 0.06 inches of water column, closing the curtain if it ever gets below 0.05 inches of water column, and opening the curtain if it ever gets above 0.075 inches of water column. 0.06 is a good number to start from. Anywhere from 0.05 to 0.08 would be an acceptable number. You might consider a higher number for a wider barn, because this determines the velocity of the air coming in through the inlet and how far towards the center of the barn it's going to come before turning to go down the barn in tunnel mode. You don't want it to be too terribly high, because that will cause the fans to work harder than they need to be able to move the air that they must. You'll notice that when you're changing this set point, the close and open offsets will automatically change as well and do not seem to be user editable from the tunnel setting. If you do want to change the closing or the opening settings, go up to the natural settings, and here, independent of the set point, you can change them up or down, and you'll see those changes reflected in the tunnel setting as well.